Hi, hello, happy new year. Yeah, long time no see, as they say. I could hardly make any videos over the Christmas period because of my voice. Cold was not letting me do what I want to do. So now I'm back. Hi. So today we are talking about three important topics: narcissism, codependency, and our confidence. Did you ever know the story of Narcissus and Echo? This is a Greek myth. Narcissus was the son of a river god and a nymph, and when he was born, a witch prophesied that he will have a very long life only if he never knew himself. So he grew up into a fine young man, a very handsome one, and so many people loved him, liked him. In his teenage age and in his life, people, girls, boys loved him, but he turned everybody down. On the other hand, there is this figure, Echo, a mountain nymph. She was blessed with a beautiful voice. She could talk and sing in pleasant ways that could enchant people. So Zeus, the god king, used to go into the forest and frolic with the forest nymphs. Hera, the goddess queen, came at the edge of their throne looking for her husband. Echo came forward, trying to distract her with this beautiful voice and stories so the king could quietly slip away. But Hera quickly understood what was going on and became very angry and cursed Echo, saying she would never speak a word again and would only echo the last sentences of what other people say. So from this time on, Echo could no longer enchant people. Her stories became boring, she lost friends, and she moved into the forest. Going into the forest, Echo encounters Narcissus. So, due to these rattling sounds as she comes in, Narcissus asks who is in the forest. Knowing that Echo can only echo the last words of Narcissus, like, "Who are you?" Echo would only repeat those words, and it became a beautiful dance of a conversation. Narcissus was actually talking to himself, so he enjoyed it and kept talking. Echo was misled and thought Narcissus liked her in one way or the other, so she revealed herself and was rejected. Now, being so sad of this rejection, she moved into the caves where she withered and died away. The only thing remaining was her voice, which diffused into mountains and hills and rocks that we hear today as echoes. On the part of Narcissus, he was punished for rejecting people by Nemesis. So Nemesis pulled her close to a glass clear riverbank where he finally saw his own reflection in the water. He fell in love with his own reflection and could not stop loving it, so he stared at it and was trying to kiss it and embrace it. But each time he went closer, everything would dissolve. So he stayed there and finally withered away on the spot. And a beautiful flower came out of it, always reflecting into the water, the Narcissus. Now, why am I telling you this story today? This is a story that has evolved. The names, they have evolved into complex psychological behaviors today in our day-to-day lives. This story came up this was one of Ovid's. Ovid was a Greek poet. In his third book, he wrote this story. So this book has evolved from the 1st century right up till now, And in the last century, the 20th century, it actually moved up into a more complex word, narcissism, passing through Havelock Ellis, who coined the word autoerotism, meaning using yourself as an object of your own love. Then Sigmund Freud used the word ego libido, which finally moved up into one word called the God complex, an aloof characteristic, inaccessible, and a funny sense of omnipotence and omnipresence, knowing what other people think. So today, there is a big dance in our communities, especially in particular ethnic groups, where there is codependency, narcissism, and it leads up to people never growing into their full potentials. Sigmund Freud equally said the God complex characteristic was a positive trait in adolescence, which means it was a positive growing process. But I would not say it's completely true, because today some adolescents hardly know exactly what they are doing, and on the other hand, some adults got stuck in this God complex characteristic and stayed immature, not making them bad per se, but many adults are stuck in this God complex characteristic, terrorizing their communities in one way or the other. You know, the whole narcissistic dance of people causing other people not to reach their full potentials, which is a problem we can hardly really solve. In Echo's life, we see how her voice was shut down. Some adults, some parents can hardly hear the voice of their own children because of narcissistic characteristics or characteristic traits. The children can hardly exhibit what they want to do. They have to listen and toe the line. It's a good thing to advise children and teach them those two different words. Yet some parents give their word and it's amen. So children cannot deviate, or you will be faced with conditional loving. This is where the problem starts to come. When people, because confidence, the third word in line, depends on the meaningful connections we make with other humans, with other individuals. When they are qualitative in nature, we easily find our way in life, we establish ourselves, we recognize our hobbies and how we could develop them into positive career traits. But without these beautiful connections with other humans, we really hardly understand who we are. We see people moving from one aspect of their lives to another, not finding a way to anchor themselves into where they feel confident. We see other people judging and beating others to stay quiet and submit. So when we have these positive connections with each other, we become very confident, and the codependent dance dissolves. We are not forced to behave in a certain way, or so we could be admired or loved, because there is the high demand of, if you do not fall in line with what we think or what we believe in, we do not love you, we ghost you, so you stay alone. It's quite unfortunate that sometimes there are some very close people who follow up other people's successes quite near. They look at everything others do in a narcissistic way. They look at it so well, yet they will never compliment, they will never acknowledge. So that whole game, and you are aware that you know these people have no time for acknowledgement. Well, that's the whole dance of narcissistic, codependent, and the whole fight for being confident in what we are doing in life. Confidence is when we have meaningful relationships with each other. So it becomes complex when we fall into the trap of a narcissist, or we get into a codependent relationship. Mostly, if you do not fall in line, if you do not do as we please, if you do not toe the line and do as the community says, we will not love you, we will ghost you, or we will find ways of making you feel it. So even if you try to succeed, people are watching, or the codependent relationship setup is watching to see you fail, to say, aha, I said it, we said it. So you watch your back and you end up in a cycle of never really being who you are. You give up and stay in a non-reciprocal love. The most important thing is accepting each other for who they are. We bring out our points on the table and respect each other. At whatever life stage we are, whether you're adolescent or adult or an older person, it's all about acknowledging each other for who they are. And so we build a confident society. And if we look into the mirror and see the real self and not the self that we think we can embrace and always admire and love too much, and just know it's just a picture and it has nothing to do, we can easily understand that everybody looks in the mirror and sees what they want to see. Well, it's like this. A codependent child mostly comes out of a narcissistic home, and the cycle continues. A codependent personality becomes a weak personality, gives birth to children, and is not capable of educating and training them in a confident style, and so the society deteriorates consistently. When we look at the pioneers, the lives of the pioneers ate poison, poisoned themselves with chemicals. So humans were operated upon and organs taken out to test medications before they even came up to using animals. So in the past, humans have suffered for us to be where we are today. Not saying I support what happened in the past. Right now we have medications, we have different ways of making life easy for ourselves. But our society is consistently going weaker and weaker and weaker. Why? In our next episode, we'll be talking about something else to get more understanding of what could be happening. The link of the story of Narcissus is down in the comment box. You could take a look and enjoy the story yourself. Thanks for watching. The growth process continues, and it's all about love.